Is bliss. And today, Donald Trump signed an executive order to dismantle the Department of Education. I know it sounds like a joke, but it's not. Trump famously said he loves the poorly educated, and now we will have so many more people to love. Trump signed the order during an event at the White House. They invited a group of children to attend. They're like, hey, kids, who hates school? And they're like, well, we do. And they said, well, good news, it's over. The idea behind this is to let the states come up with their own educational standards. For instance, from here on, in order to receive a high school diploma in Florida, all you have to do is complete the maze on the back of the kids' menu at Fuddruckers.
YouTube has terminated our main channel with millions of views just for telling the truth. But you can help us regrow by just subscribing to the channel, liking the video, and commenting down below. Thank you.
On Trump dismantling the Department of Education. Trump's move to gut education isn't just ideological, it's strategic. I love the poorly educated wasn't just a campaign line, it was a governing philosophy. Creating more uniformed voters serves his political interests perfectly.
It's hard to wrap your head around. Yesterday, the Department of Defense, as part of their war against woke, removed a page about Jackie Robinson's distinguished military career. They pulled it down. A spokesperson for the Pentagon said, we do not view or highlight them, not sure what he means by them, but through the prism of immutable characteristics such as race, ethnicity, or sex. Right, Jackie Robinson was just a baseball player. There's nothing special about him. And Rosa Parks just loved to ride the bus. She was a commuter. The Pentagon also took down stories about the Navajo Code Talkers and the Tuskegee Airmen, and then there was so much backlash, they had to put it all back up. Imagine how racist you have to be racist against Jackie Robinson today. I don't get it. How can something like this happen under the president who's done more for black people than Abraham Lincoln? It makes no sense.
On the Pentagon removing Jackie Robinson's page. The Pentagon scrubbing Jackie Robinson's military service shows how far the anti-woke agenda has gone. When celebrating American heroes becomes controversial because of their race, we've crossed from culture wars into dangerous territory.
You talked the other day about how music was your aptitude as a child. But is Barron's aptitude, in your view, business or politics?
Maybe technology. He can look at a computer. I'd try turning off his car, I'd turn it off, I'd turn off his laptop. I said, oh, good. And I go back 5 minutes later, he's got his laptop. I said, how'd you do that? None of your business, Dad. No, he's got an unbelievable aptitude in technology.
Which means Trump's affair with Stormy Daniels just turned 18 years old and 8 months. Barron's got some... Look it up. Barron's got some... He had some big shoes to fill. I mean, by the time his father was 19, he'd already bankrupted 6 companies. But his dad is very proud of his son and seems to believe he could take the family business to new heights.
Tall and handsome now. A very young, tall person. He's a tall one. You know, I have a son who's 6'9". He's a big boy, 6'9". 6'9". My 6'9" son says no. Yeah. But he's 6'9". Yeah, I'd say 6'8". And when he stands up, he's on the tall side. He's
tall. Very tall.
He's tall. Very tall. He's very tall. Very tall. He's very tall. He's very tall. He's also tall. He's very tall. He's a tall student.
Happy birthday. He likes computers. And he's tall. And that's pretty much all he knows about Barron.
On Trump's tech knowledge about Barron's laptop. Trump's bewilderment at his son's ability to turn a laptop back on should terrify anyone who bought his cryptocurrency. The man leading America's AI strategy can't grasp basic computer functions, yet positions himself as a tech visionary.
Multiple Teslas were burned at a Tesla facility in Las Vegas. Authorities are now investigating which Teslas were set on fire and which set themselves on fire. And while no one should be setting anything on fire ever, people are mad at Elon Musk for randomly and gleefully putting thousands of Americans, including veterans, out of work. But the MAGA gang, which has been very against any kind of violent protest ever since January 7th, was it? So 2021? That's when they started being against it? They are highly upset.
It's amazing. Elon Musk rescues 2 astronauts from space who've been there 286 days, and this is what he gets.
This is what he gets for working for the government for free.
Why Elon Musk?
We should be loving him.
This is deadly dangerous stuff.
Lunatics are loose.
Yeah, left-wingers, violence, it's what they do.
It's a movement labeled the Tesla Takedown. by some of the stupidest people in this country.
Their hatred for Donald Trump fuels everything that they do.
Maybe it's time to go full-on Kyle Rittenhouse-style security.
If you try to hurt one of these cars, we're going to put you away.
If you're going to touch a Tesla, go to a dealership, do anything, you better watch out because we're coming after you.
On the Tesla situation, the mega hypocrisy is stunning. Violence against government is patriotic, but damage to Elon Musk's properties requires Kyle Rittenhouse-style security. Notice how they defended billionaires' cars more fiercely than they defended democracy itself.
Bud Light, relax already. Even the vice president took a break from humping his ottoman to complain about not just me, you.
On Jimmy Kimmel's television program and on The Daily Show this week, you have audiences outright cheering, seeing the images of Teslas on fire across the country. And I saw that and I thought, man, that really is a sign of how much the left has conditioned people to think that that's acceptable.
Did you hear what he just called you? He called you humorless scolds. What is wrong with you people? You trying to make JD's mascara run? What's going? A humorless scold. Who?
On JD Vance's media criticism, when the vice president takes time to complain about late-night comedy instead of addressing economic concerns, it reveals the administration's true priorities, protecting their fragile egos rather than serving Americans.
Frustrated. Look at what's happening at these town halls. Maybe it's time to start paying attention to your constituents. Yesterday, there was a town hall in Laramie, Wyoming, a heavily Republican city. Almost 70% of the county voted for Trump there. But when Congresswoman Harriet Hageman showed up and started defending Doge, this is what she got.
We are not allowed to touch Social Security. The work that I have specifically been doing, I am on the Judiciary Committee and the Natural Resources Committee. It's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government.
Well, that's left-wing, pinko, communist, woke yoming for you. People are obsessed with having a functioning government. Who would have ever guessed? And also, are we entirely sure this Harriet Hageman?
On the Wyoming town hall reaction, that Wyoming town hall reveals the growing disconnect between mega politicians and their own base. When even deep red districts are pushing back against cuts to essential services, the political ground is shifting beneath Republicans' feet.
Hollywood, California. I'm tired. I didn't get much sleep last night. I read all 64,000 pages of the JFK files last night. Turns out he was murdered.
Trump's no redactions JFK files dump is a classic Trump chaos, rushing a sensitive process that requires care, exposing government workers to identity theft risks, and essentially duplicating what Biden had already released properly 2 years ago.
Salutes, everybody gets all bent out of shape. Donald Trump today had what he described as a very good phone call with President Zelensky of Ukraine. All his calls are either very good or perfect. At this point, Zelensky, this guy's been part of more unpleasant phone calls than Ghostface from Scream. Yesterday, Trump said he had a great call with his buddy Vladimir Putin and that Putin agreed to a ceasefire on bombing Ukrainian energy facilities. He said he would stop, and then a few hours later, Russia launched attacks on, any guesses? That's right, Ukrainian energy facilities. The best deal maker in the world.
Trump brags about a very good call with Zelensky after telling Putin to stop bombing energy facilities. Then Putin immediately bombs Ukrainian energy facilities. The best deal maker in the world can't even get his friend Vladimir to honor a ceasefire for a few hours.
There for the brothers kissing part. This whole idea of Putin just taking Ukraine, it seems to have inspired Trump, who now, it seems like, wants to do that himself.
Here's my problem with Canada. Canada was meant to be the 51st state. Any one of
But you're tougher with Canada than you are with some of our biggest adversaries.
Only
Why?
because it's meant to be our 51st state. And
Okay, but
but listen to this for a second.
We need their territory. They have territorial advantage. We're not going to let them get close to China.
Look, right? I deal with every country, indirectly or directly. One of the nastiest countries to deal with is Canada.
Trump's bizarre claim that Canada was meant to be the 51st state and calling Canadians the nastiest people shows his disturbing imperialist tendencies. He seems to view sovereign nations as property to be acquired rather than as partners to be respected.
Okay? I don't know how we're going to make it through 4 years of this, or even more, perhaps, if the human bag of wet garbage known as Steve Bannon has his way.
President Trump, I'm a firm believer that President Trump
will run and win again in 2028. So I've already endorsed President Trump. A man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
Oh, you know he's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
Bannon saying we're working on getting Trump a third term is a direct assault on constitutional term limits. The disturbing part is that violating democratic norms is now openly discussed as a political strategy rather than condemned as un-American.
Visit Mount Rushmore in the great state of
North Dakota, Washington,
Wyoming.
A mountain.
Nobody knows, and there's no way to tell. God bless wherever we are.
The push to add Trump to Mount Rushmore alongside Washington and Lincoln demonstrates the cult-like worship within megacircles. That his supporters can't even name who's currently on the monument or where it's located shows this isn't about historical significance, but pure idol worship.
Even weirder, Trump spent a lot of the day yesterday at the Kennedy Center in his new and ridiculous capacity as their chairman of the board. The Kennedy Center, if you don't know, is a venue. It's a performing arts center. They have shows, they give out awards, they give out honors, they have concerts, etc. And the president of the United States is in charge of appointing the board of the Kennedy Center. So last month, Trump kicked most everyone off the board and replaced them with a crew of his cronies. And then he had the cronies elect him CEO of the Kennedy Center. And now he's focused on the important work of making sure liberals don't ever set foot in the place. Fatty Lapone had a photo shoot at the Opera House today where he struck a pose like as if he'd got the lead in Evita.
So you want a little picture like this? Perfect. Go ahead. Are you guys ready? Come on. We're good for...
Sir, if you want to speak to us later, too, when we're closer, that would be great. Perfect. Thank you, press. Right this way.
Thank you. Why would anyone want a picture like this? I mean, it's like he's just about to start the YMCA dance, and then the last time I saw him pose like that was in front of 600 cheeseburgers.
Trump appointing himself head of the Kennedy Center shows his unquenchable thirst for cultural authority, despite his remarkably thin knowledge of the arts. It's the perfect metaphor for his approach to leadership. Seize control first, figure out what it means later.
This is about to come true. We also got an update on that war in Ukraine Trump promised he would end in 24 hours. Old fart of the deal spoke with his pal Putin by phone today, which that seems like a bad... Putting Trump on the phone with Putin is like putting your grandma on the phone with a Nigerian prince. This fellow is so charming. Putin agreed to nothing today. People keep asking if Trump is getting played by Putin, which is like asking if Hava Nagila is getting played at a bar mitzvah. Yes is the answer. But according to White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt,
we are on the 10th yard line of peace.
The 10th yard line of peace. There's no better metaphor for this administration than screwing up a metaphor about peace.
Putting Trump on the phone with Putin continues to raise serious national security concerns. When the White House describes peace talks as being on the 10-yard line, they're exposing both their diplomatic inexperience and their fondness for broken metaphors.
About peace. You know, in Minnesota, I don't know if you saw this, but there are some Republican lawmakers there cooking up some historically stupid legislation. A group of state senators in Minnesota they're trying to push through a bill that would classify Trump derangement syndrome as a mental illness. The bill says Trump derangement syndrome means the acute onset of paranoia in otherwise normal persons that is in reaction to the policies and presidencies of President Donald J. Trump.
The irony of lawmakers trying to classify criticism of Trump as a mental illness while one of the bill's sponsors gets arrested for allegedly soliciting a minor perfectly encapsulates the moral contradiction at the heart of mega politics.
On landing. Tesla stock is way down. Elon Musk has been making the rounds in the right-wing media to try to appear to be a human being. Yesterday, he was guest of honor on the Ted Cruz podcast, where Sweaty Teddy, Ted Cruz seems, everything he knows about technology seems to come from movies he's seen. Ted asked Elon a question about the dangers of AI.
Is Skynet real? Like you get the apocalyptic visions of AI. How real is the prospect of killer robots annihilating humanity?
20% likely. Maybe 10%.
On what time frame?
As Tesla stock plummets, Musk's retreat to the friendly right-wing media environments exposes the growing gap between his public image as a visionary and his increasingly partisan political activities.
It's one thing, but it is absolutely astonishing to see these ridiculous Republicans desperately fawning over him, trying to get his attention and win his love. There are a lot of them. There are hundreds, maybe even thousands, but only 5 of them honored His Majesty so parasitically this week, they earned a nomination for the coveted title of Golden Groveler. And the nominees are Laura Trump.
When history looks back on this time in America, I do believe that it will be Donald Trump and Elon Musk who were reflected as 2 of the saviors of this country and really of the entire world.
Secretary of Commerce Howard Lutnick.
You know you can't tackle Donald Trump. He is the most important, the smartest, the most capable leader in the world, and he's not going to let someone push him around.
Attorney General Pam Bondi.
We all work for the greatest president in the history of our country. We are so proud to work at the directive of Donald Trump. It is
Representative Lauren Boebert.
Every day is like waking up to Christmas, and we just get so many blessings under President Trump and his administration, his amazing cabinet picks. This is a fantastic time to be alive.
And Deputy Chief of Staff Stephen Miller.
Well, President Trump, as has now been well established, is the greatest negotiator, the greatest deal maker, the greatest diplomat, and the greatest peacemaker that we have ever seen in this country.
Well, it was a very tough decision. All the nominees delivered extraordinary tongue work this week.
The competition for who can praise Trump most effectively reveals the transformation of Republican politics from policy debate to personality cult, where loyalty is measured by the extravagance of public flattery.
Terrible weekend of deadly storms. 42 Americans were killed in tornadoes and wildfires in several states. And while the devastation was happening, our commander-in-chief meteorologist was back at Mar-a-Lago, again playing golf. As the storms raged, he offered these words of comfort to those who lost their families and their homes. He wrote, "I just won the golf club championship, probably my last, at Trump International Golf Club in Palm Beach County, Florida. Such a great honor. The awards dinner is tonight at the club. I want to thank the wonderful golf staff and all of the many fantastic golfers that participated in the event. Such fun."
On Trump playing golf during deadly storms. Trump's boasting about winning his own golf tournament while Americans were dying in tornadoes perfectly encapsulates his priorities. Self-congratulation first, presidential duties second.